and call tonight's meeting to order. Madam Recorder, we do have a quorum with all members present. If everyone would please rise, I'm going to ask the Vice Mayor to lead us in prayer.
Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much for this another day you've given us. We just thank you for all the blessings you bestow upon us each day. Thank you for this board. Thank you for all of our citizens, Lord. Just put your hand over them and protect each one of them in a special way. Just open our minds, give us the knowledge, wisdom to understand the things that we need to discuss and vote on. Just thank you for our town. Pray you just be in, your hand be in this meeting and everything that's said and done. Pray and ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to need to approval of agenda. Mr. Ellis, are there any additions or deletions?
Yes, sir. I would ask that we add Resolution 2618. It was on your place when you arrived to the end of the agenda.
Is this new business?
This is consideration of new business, yes.
2618.
2618. What it is regarding is authorizing a request for proposal for copier equipment. So a lot of what you'll see on tonight has to do with contracts expiring, renewing contracts, extending contracts. This is just one more. I'd also ask that we remove Resolution 2617, Shelby Electric contract renewal. They never responded back to us. I think the young man handling that took a little vacation. I'd also ask under new business ordinance first reading, we remove 2603. I'm not comfortable with that. That's something I proposed last month, and I'm still not comfortable with it, so I want to review it a little bit more before I bring it to you guys. That's under new business ordinance first reading, ordinance 2603. That's all I have.
Anything from an alderman? I'll take a motion when you're ready.
Make a motion to approve the agenda with the changes discussed.
Got a motion from the Vice Mayor to approve the agenda with the changes. Is there a second?
A second.
Second from Alderman Bailey. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Next is the approval of the minutes. February 11th work session minutes. I assume everyone's had time to read them. I'll take a motion when you're ready.
Make a motion we approve the minutes of our work session, February 11th.
Got a motion from Alderman Bailey. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from the Vice Mayor, Mr. Cates. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is the minutes from the regular meeting on February 19th. Motion to approve from Alderman LaBuddy.
Second.
Second from Alderman Austin. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay. We have a couple of special items tonight. First, we do have an employee that's with us. In just a year and a half, where the process normally takes much longer, we have an employee that has completed some ICC certifications for residential building, residential plumbing, and residential mechanical. At this time, I'm going to present a nice plaque. I would like to ask Harley McNeil to come forward, and Joe McDonald is her supervisor. Again, this is a difficult thing to achieve. She's done a lot in a short amount of time, so tonight the town of Oakland presents a plaque to you. There you go. Next up, we have an Oakland resident who wants to speak. My agenda says Chelsea Williams. Is it Chelsea, you want to come forward?
Yeah, that's my maiden
Say-
name. My
okay.
married name is Chelsea Cavell.
So you're Chelsea Cavell.
Yep.
Okay. Can you just state your name and address for the record?
Absolutely. My name is Chelsea Cavell. I live at 295 Suzanne Drive. I've actually prepared some documents to pass out to y'all if you would like to have a copy.
You can do that.
Thank you.
You want to get one? I'm the mayor.
Okay, so what I've provided is kind of a chronological timeline of what I've been dealing with since 2020. It's been 6 years now. As you can see, I provided arrows. So there is a storm drain right here that runs.
Excuse me, Mayor, Mr. Bell, is this issue involved in litigation?
Yes, it is.
You can't communicate.
Well, I feel like I should be able to because everybody's put online about my lawsuit, so I feel like it's a little fair.
I don't know who everybody is, but my advice to the board is that we not communicate about pending litigation.
Well, then why was this not told to me 2 months ago when I requested to speak? I would really just like for people to hear me out.
I can comment. I referred to the attorney PDP that's handling this case. He said Ms. Cavell had the opportunity to speak. He suggested the board not engage, asking questions or comments, or allow her time to speak.
Thank you.
I did confirm that legal counsel before this happened.
Yes, both of our lawyers have all of this information. It's nothing new. I'm just notifying the board, that's all. So as you can see, I provided pictures with everything, and statements, you know, just the bullet points along each one. So as you can see with the parallel line, there is a storm drain that runs parallel. And you can see that it started to leak. That's what the arrow down is for. That started to leak in 2020. And 2021, there was an engineer who sent a letter stating that the town is responsible to maintain the drain system for which is within easement. However, he also never set eyes on the property. And I will also state that the pictures here do not do it any justice. All right, so 2022 to 2023, Harvey Ellis and Jay Johnson stated that this would be taken care of. I also met with Mayor Brown, and he said, quote unquote, Jay would take care of it. 2023, you sent me a USB footage of the pipe when it was dry. There was no rain, there was no leak down test. It's not physically possible to locate a leak during that time. 2023, Rex Wallace, he was awesome, amazing human. He came to my house and he listened to me, and he, as soon as he set eyes on it, was like, wow, this is phenomenal. So if you keep going, 2022, May 2022, the town came and did, they added riprap to the back that they said they had no easement rights for. And if you flip to page 5, you can see that they put minimal rock. Again, that covers the issue. It does not fix it. Page 6, page 7, page 8 show just a few of the holes. So November 5th, 2025, I finally begged enough to get the town to come do a leak test. And not only did they fail, but they failed drastically. And Dennis Mullins was appalled about how it was even built. That's also on page 11 where they're doing the work. So they came and did a foam fill November 19, 2025. And as you can see, I put some arrows where the foam comes out. These holes went to nowhere. These were massive holes. I have a dog. I have kids that come over to my house and play, and I have never been able to use my yard. Now, I'd also like to tell you on page 16, there is a head wall for a storm drain that feeds into the drain that's in my property that runs parallel, again, within the easement. I took 2 fence panels down and asked Harvey Ellis to measure the easement with me twice. He did not. I am within easement rights. He came to my house personally and told me how much worse it's gotten and that they would need to backfill this, and he still did not measure the easement. Dennis Mullins was also on the property twice and would not measure the easement with me, so I went to measure it by myself, again, within easement rights. So, when the town was done doing the foam fill, they didn't fill any of the holes, right? So, everything's still there. So I took it upon myself to fill in what I could, as you can see on page 17, 18, 19, and on page 20, as of March 2nd, you can see that it's still leaking and that none of the damage has been fixed on my property. And I will end it with saying that I have contacted multiple contractors and 2 civil engineers stating that this is an absolute storm drain leak, as we all know, because the leak, it failed, right? And the work that you're doing at 220 Winding Creek, it's minimal compared to the issues that I have here. So if you would just please take into consideration, I would really love to get this resolved. I know it's an ongoing issue, and I appreciate you listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next is the citizens' comments section. This portion of the agenda is reserved for public comment from Town of Oakland residents who wish to comment on matters that are germane to the items on tonight's agenda. Speakers shall limit their comments to 3 minutes unless additional time is allowed by the chair, and the total length for this public comment period shall not exceed 10 minutes. So if anyone wants to speak, you only have 3 minutes. So if I interrupt you, that means your 3 minutes have expired. And if you direct any questions toward the board, they will not be answered during this comment period. I saw Gary Schmidt with his hand up first. So Gary, if you want to come forward, I got you guys.
Thank you, Mayor. Gary Schmidt, 235 Pinehurst Drive. Normally, I'm a very positive individual, and I wanted to address tonight's resolution for the Tennessee Soccer Academy resolution. Is that supposed to be voted on tonight, this proposal?
Yes.
Yes? Has anybody done any research on this?
I have.
You have? Great. So I did some research on this. And obviously this individual is also doing this for Arlington as well. And I reached out to Arlington just to ask them some general questions. And the rates that he's proposing that he gives us are far less than what he's paying Arlington. Arlington does not supply him with goals and nets. And he's asking us for 32 goals and nets at a cost of $50,000 delivered. And that is current pricing. Based on that, we also look at the number of kids. When I was Park and Rec, we had a maximum number of kids of 266 kids playing soccer. At his current rate of non-competitive at $20, that'd be $5,320 of income. And we're going to fork out $50,000 for goals. It'd take 10 years to recoup that. Also, we look at one of the other fees that he put on there as well was a competitive. How many competitive kids? Who's going to control who records how many competitive? Arlington also charges for non-resident. There's nothing in this proposal for resident or non-resident, and there's 2 different fees that he pays. We're also, I think we need to look at the cost of the lights. Under the lights, there's nothing in here that says when he's going to play. So if they're going to use the lights, how much are the lights going to cost per hour? How much overall is that going to cost us? $75 per game is in this proposal. And it says an agreement between the parties for tournaments and summer camps. So there's no cost that's in this resolution for tournaments or anything of that nature. We're talking about man hours, we're talking equipment costs, we're talking about the cost of spraying and maintenance of the fields, gasoline for our equipment, and of course maintenance of the restrooms. You know, I'm not an alderman or anything like that, but a concerned citizen about our expenditures here. I think, in my honest opinion, that we should look into this further before there's a vote on this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Olson.
Hi, I'm Ramona Olson of 20 Burr Oak Drive. I am reading a statement that was written by my husband on his behalf since he is unwell and not able to attend tonight. It says, these comments are regarding Resolution 2610, the water leak protection insurance. My first comment is I don't see coverage limits or pricing in the resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement. No offense to the mayor, but that seems like the board signing a blank check. Secondly, will there be an administrative fee from the city added to the actual cost of the insurance? If so, please break down the component cost of each item that will compromise the total charge to the consumer. Third, I keep hearing that this city is short-staffed, so who will take on the administrative duties of this program? And fourth, I am in favor of having a leak relief program available for citizens who would like to participate. I am strongly opposed to this board deciding I should be automatically enrolled in a program administered by a third-party, for-profit insurance company. This action would run counter to the Consumer Protection Agency laws if it was done by a private enterprise. If you were a private company automatically enrolling me in a program like this, you could be sued. Please honor the intent of the Consumer Protection Agency Code protecting consumers from being automatically enrolled in programs. I shouldn't have to take action to not be billed for a product that I don't want. Why not offer the coverage to the citizens, let them decide if they want the coverage, and if they do, they can opt in. I think it's a terrible decision for the board to decide to enroll the entire town in a third-party, for-profit program. Let that sink in. The board is enrolling the entire town in a for-profit company's program. Then the town is going to administrate the program for that profit company. What's next? You decide to automatically enroll me in a $2,000 life insurance policy, so if I die and have a balance due on my water bill, you'll be paid? Please vote no for Resolution 2610. My final comments are regarding Resolution 2614, authorizing the agreement with TSA. Can anyone speak to the projection of income that will generate versus the cost the town will incur to uphold their obligations? The agreement states the city will supply 32 goals and nets. I don't know if they cost $400 or $1,400 each, but that could be a considerable expense. Additionally, the town will be obligated to stripe the fields once a week, mow and irrigate as needed. Does the city own the equipment to properly maintain the fields, or will this need to be purchased? How will the fields be irrigated during the summer? Will there be need for additional headcount added to support cleaning the bathrooms, picking up litter, and maintaining a clean park? If the answers are not known to each of you, I recommend postponing a vote until you know the answers. The agreement effective date isn't until August, though there isn't a rush to push this through without due diligence.
Thank you, Ms. Olson.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Karen Doyle, and I live at 535 Maple Street in Oakland. I usually attend the board meetings and workshops. I attend because I want to learn and be aware of happenings in our town. At last month's meeting on 2/19, a workshop was scheduled for Thursday, 3/12. I originally wasn't sure of the date, thinking it was 3/5, and I asked on Facebook, and I was informed that it was on 3/12. After I received that message, I found my notes from 2/19 and confirmed that date. When I came on the 12th, the building and parking lot was empty. I later found out that the meeting was changed to the 11th. Usually Miss Austin or somebody else posts things regarding our meetings, but nothing was sent out to the public regarding this change of date by anyone. How is the public supposed to be able to have input if we are not made aware of the change of a date? This is not a transparent decision by the board to reschedule a workshop without notice to the public. Can someone please give me a legitimate explanation why and how this decision was made? Also, on our new park that we're having, are we gonna have some decent playground equipment? It's sad that we have to drive to Arlington to let our children play at a nice playground where there are 40 to 50 kids at a time playing there. And also, will we be having an Easter egg hunt for our children in this town?
Thank you, Ms. Doyle. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak? All right, seeing no one coming forward, we will close the citizens' comments section of our meeting. Comments from the mayor. Just so, we're gonna have discussions about the water leak issues and the soccer at the time when the resolution comes up, so we can direct any responses at that time. I've got a few questions of my own. I will say that it's very nice to see people publicly coming forward and saying, we want more stuff at the park faster. Thank you very much. I think that's the sentiment of most people, regardless of what you read on social media. As far as the meeting dates, all of our meetings are put out the exact same way. There is public notification. Sometimes we talk about things here, we didn't formally. There's only two ways to get a meeting called in Oakland. The mayor can call a meeting, or any three aldermen can get together and request that we have a meeting. That's it. Following the meeting, I had some dates the 3 of the 6 members had a conflict with, but everybody was available the next day. That was done the day after our meeting, so 2 weeks' notice. And the notification was put out like the notification was put out for this meeting. So if there is any confusion, the board apologizes, if I can speak for the board. But just check the normal way that you get meeting dates for this. I'm going to reserve some comments for these other things that brought up. Tomorrow's the first day of spring, so I'd like to wish everyone a happy allergy season. I'm sure it'll be freezing again in a few days. So with that, we will move to comments from the alderman. Vice Mayor Cates. Okay. Alderman Bailey. Alderman LaBuddy. Alderman Campbell.
Yes, sir, I do.
Go ahead.
I would like to ask Ms. Lori, our financial advisor, if she'll come up.
Wait, is this about department stuff?
Yes,
Let's do that in the next section.
okay.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
No.
Ms. Austin?
No, I don't have anything. Thank you.
Okay. Next is the department director reports. Is there any department head who wishes to speak to the board this evening? Blake, come on up. You can come up too, Lori, or you can wait. It's up to you.
Hello, Board. I've not given y'all an update on the status of the plant in a while. We are now currently past the original deadline, but we're into weather days. So the tentative deadline is still in flux based on the weather and the way things play out. We're looking at probably the end of April before it's fully complete and they're out of our hair. There will still be around. There will be representatives from the manufacturers doing startup work, training, so that it will probably be May before we're fully through, done with training, done with all the startup. But we are out of the woods. There was a moment there after the transition that the biological process was kind of tenuous and we had not grasped it. So now we feel much more comfortable with where we're at. We will experience another transition here shortly into our recently renovated basin, which will put us at the beginning again to where we're trying to figure out how to run the plant now in a third basin. I will say that after the inclement weather, We had a critical piece of equipment fail. It froze. It just froze, and the whole top of the basin froze. We were down in that basin for a few days, I think maybe 4 in total. We took 5 violations after the fact because of that. A month is gone since I've notified the state about those violations. We have yet to receive any fines related to the director's order. With that having been said, I have not asked directly whether we will, because I don't want to push the issue if they're not fining us. But I will be budgeting the appropriate amount because there was a threshold. We could only be charged $60,000 something total for fines. We're currently only halfway there, should they intend to fine us for these. So we would need to budget the other $30,000 just in case that we violate more and they decide they want to push that issue. I'm hoping that because it was an inclement weather-related thing that was beyond our control, that they will show leniency. Does anybody have any questions about the status of the plan?
Well, since you're here, if we have any, if we do get any fines, is that money you already have in your current budget, or will that need to become, would you need more from the general fund?
I could not take any from the general fund because we're an enterprise fund,
Right.
but we have not exceeded our bottom line, so money could be reallocated around to make it right. But no, it was not budgeted because we did not anticipate being put under a director's order 2 weeks before we were in our new basins. It defied logic and reason.
I understand. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Lori, did you want to come up on your own, or were you coming up in response to Alderman Campbell?
In response.
Huh?
In response.
Okay, well, come on.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Lloyd, first off, let me commend you on the work done well to take care of before you got here. So in no way this is a reflection of you or your work, but there's a lot of talk on the interweb about a $91,000 shortage that is missing. Can you clarify this? Is there money missing?
To my knowledge, there is no money missing. We are currently in the 25 fiscal year audit. The auditors are currently here. I asked the auditors doing our audit now to review the findings of the last audit and to see whether or not there was anything that was submitted that stated money was missing. And the person that is heading up the audit for us for this year stated that there was nothing that was stated that money was missing. However, the findings did read that it was addressing bank reconciliations that stated funds were not properly reconciled. The amount that was in question was the amount of our state insurance that is paid, where it was on the statement but not on the general ledger.
All right, so no money is actually missing to any kind of sum that you know of, or the auditor that has the comptroller look at this?
We actually had 2 visitors from the comptroller's office here today. We also addressed that issue with them. They do not have any indication of any money being missing. They stated that if there was money missing and it was reported by the auditors, that they would have already been down here.
All right, thank you. I appreciate, again, all the work that you put forward and are doing now. I hope some of these computer gurus that go home now and will send out a reprieve to what they've been talking about on the internet. Thank you, Lloyd.
Miss Laura,
Yes, sir.
to go further than what Alderman Campbell said, I've got on my phone where somebody said it was even stolen. It's different than being stolen and missing, in my opinion.
Well, I
Missing, it
mean,
could have been replaced somewhere. Stolen, somebody took it.
you know, I like to refer to a line of kindergartners where you put the first one in line and you tell them something and you let it go down the line and see what the last one says and see if it matches. It's
I've got
gonna
it on my
change
phone.
drastically.
I've got a copy of it on my phone if anybody needs it.
if I could add a little bit, and Lori basically took my comment, basically word for word almost.
Sorry.
But that's fine, that's fine. I can reinstate everything she said is exactly true. We did have a meeting with the comptroller today. The new audit firm has been over there all week since Monday. They brought in a team of 4. Very, very personable people, very professional, and they are working diligently to get this next audit up to date. The statement that, from the lead on that audit team is, I had the same email from her today that I was gonna read. Only other thing I would add, we did have a meeting with the comptroller's office, and we discussed that, among other things. It was a predetermined meeting. It wasn't unexpected. It has been booked for a year. We sit down and we reiterated some things we've implemented since the past audit, the way we were doing things and the way we're doing them now. And again, the reconciliation or the lack thereof was the cause of this problem. Everything's being reconciled now on a weekly, monthly basis, if not daily, okay? I want to touch on one more subject. There's also been a little grumbling about a forensic audit, okay? So I've reached out to MTAS, several other town managers, even brought it up in the conversation with the comptroller representatives today. I even called a CPA that was recommended by some members of the audience. We had a long conversation. And his words to me were, I will be glad to take your money, but I wouldn't spend it if I was you, and I can give you his name and number. He offered his opinion if you're interested in it. Again, auditor said if there was a report, that the previous auditors are bound by law to report any suspicion of theft or fraud or missing funds. No such report has been turned in.
Thank you.
Sir?
That ought to about settle it then, shouldn't it?
It should, if people,
It won't, I promise you it
Well,
won't.
I've got-
It'll be on there tonight.
I've got one question. I got one comment, and I've got one question. Do you have anything else, Ms. Lori?
No.
Okay.
thank you, Lori.
All I want, while you're here,
Thank you.
do the auditors normally review our last audits? I mean, is this gonna cost us any money, or are they just doing it out of the kindness of their heart?
No, when you get a new audit firm, they will go back and they will review what the previous auditor has submitted, because their work papers are supposed to be given to the new auditors. And so they always go back to see what was submitted to the comptroller's office. That gives them an understanding of what they maybe need to concentrate more on. We did have a lot of audit findings on the last audit, and they have seen no indication of that being an issue for this current audit. So the problems that were happening in the past have been corrected, and hopefully each year our audits will get better and better.
Let me just, I have a lot of private conversations with people, and I certainly don't share that. But since this is a big topic, first of all, $91,000 is not even the correct number. It's a different number. But I just want to share one thing in public with the board about a conversation that I had with our auditors who presented this audit. They kept referring to this as unreconciled cash accounts, which means something on the ledger wasn't adding up. That does not mean missing. If you have unreconciled cash, you allude that the cash is missing. I asked the auditors a question. I said, an unreconciled cash account, I said, is there money that should be there that's not there? Or is there too much money there and you don't know where it came from? And their answer was, we don't know. So there was never any talk of any money being missing. There was just a few things in a couple of departments that were unreconciled. And according to what you just said, that's been taken care of.
Right, what she just said means those numbers and the amounts don't mean squat, because there is no number.
Right. Okay.
If it ain't missing, it's not there, no one knows, then there's no number. Who came up, who made the number up?
It changes depending upon who's talking the numbers.
Exactly.
I've heard anything from 40,000 to 160.
That's what I'm saying, but you're telling us there's nothing missing. So there's nothing missing, there's no number.
I was not here during the audit that took place. I did, however, come in afterwards, and the reconciliation process was attempted for the prior year, and the problems that came up were the software system was not set up correctly, so therefore the posting through utility billing was not being posted correctly, so therefore when you don't reconcile your cash accounts and you don't reconcile your clearing accounts, you have no way of knowing that. And it wasn't until I started looking into it and I found out that we did not even have our clearing account on our general ledger that there was an issue. That's when we found out customer returns were not being posted. That's when we found out that other things had not been set up in the utility system correctly. All of these things have been addressed, they have been fixed, and we reconcile daily. Our clearing account is at 0 every afternoon, so all money is dispersed properly.
Thank you. for
Thank
the
you,
job.
Lord.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lord.
The comptroller takes things like that seriously. If there's any funny thing going on, you're gonna know about it.
Of course.
Okay, is there any other department head who wants to come forward tonight? Is there any alderman who has a question for any other department head?
I just have a question if I can ask Mr. Ellis.
Sure.
When we have main lines getting broke by boring crews, are those companies being billed for the damage?
The only way we can bill companies, and I defer to Eric, for damaging, of course, let me back up. Before you dig, you should call 811. It's the law. You have to call 811, okay? That's an underground utility locate system. For the ones that are not familiar with it, all utilities have color codes: water, gas, electric, sewer. We have 3 business days for a normal locate for our staff to go out and locate our underground utility lines. Once the work does, we put a paint mark on the ground, or we put flags on the ground where the water main is. And I can defer to Eric. It's been a while since I was in that seat, but at the time I was there, they can't work until that 3-day period is up. We locate the lines. They come out and do the work. If they hit a line and it's improperly marked, I believe it used to be 2 feet on either side of the paint. If you mark it here and they hit it over here, that's on us because it was improperly marked. If it's marked within that 4-foot grace period and it's marked correctly and damaged, then we can go after them for the reimbursement on those costs. To my knowledge, the majority of the breaks, and he's had, I would say the last 12 months, maybe 15 or 20, okay? The majority of those, we can't mark properly because of our infrastructure and the age of it. And actually the process to locate those lines is so antiquated. We've spent a lot of time looking at new ways or a better way, okay? If someone could figure that out, there's a lot of money to be made. So we've looked at ground penetrating radar, we've looked at sonar, a lot of different things. What we're doing is basically when a water line's put in, a solid strand copper wire is taped to the water main, okay? At every joint, at every intersection where there's a valve, that wire is pulled up. We go out with a box, it's a radio transmitter, hook a hot wire to that ground, put a ground rod in the ground, turn it on, it sends a radio signal to the wire. We have a handheld receiver that picks up that frequency. We beep till we get the strongest frequency, that's where we put the mark down.
Does the town put the lines? We go mark the lines?
Yes.
Okay.
Hundreds of locates a month, maybe.
We do around 300 a month.
Yeah. So to answer your question, and again, defer to Eric, the majority of the time we're hit recently, we couldn't mark it properly. The last
That is
two,
correct.
the
A lot
last
of this
two,
stuff recently was put in like in the mid-80s. There's no tracer wire. We're going off of plans from 85. It's impossible to get it right. So we're trying our best, but unfortunately we've been getting hit.
I just wanted to ask a question because I got a question about it sent to me, so I just wanted to make clarification on that. Thank you.
Anything else?
Got a little part for it.
You want, Chase, come on up. Is this about soccer? Go ahead, Mr. Gates.
I really hadn't seen a lot. What's going on with the Easter this year?
With Easter?
Yeah.
Oh,
You have an Easter egg hunt for the kids this year?
yes, sir. Yeah, I posted it. I actually posted it the other day. It's going to be at West Junior High, just like we do every year. And
Don't you think that should have been posted 3 weeks ago?
I posted it. It's been posted on there.
Well, it's said and seen it, I guess.
Yes, sir.
When did we come up with the 4th of July fireworks? You get that in concrete?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's gonna be June 27th. That was what was in the contract when we drew it up.
I signed the contract a couple of weeks ago.
Do you know where yet? Is it school or a new park?
We're planning on, me and Mr. Harvey, we planned on doing it over at the new park, so that's what we're looking at right now.
If there's any way possible, I'd like to have it at the new park.
That's what I want to
Yes, sir.
hear.
Again,
Thank you.
and
Yes,
I don't
sir.
want to get into the park discussion, we'll talk a little more later, but guys, we are investing into that park heavily, okay? And like I said before, we have to do everything in our power to make this be a success. We've invested a lot of taxpayer funds into that. And when it comes to maintenance fields and all that, those costs are ours anyway.
Thank you, buddy.
Whether somebody plays on it or not. We're obligated to maintain those fields and pay the light bill and pay the irrigation, but,
When you say that again, when people are listening,
yes,
a few minutes.
okay.
All right,
I think Attorney Meyer has something.
any other, go ahead,
I'll wrap up, I've got one comment.
go ahead.
Okay, this is for the board, for the audience, and both here and those who may be looking in remotely, because this has been a hot button item about the public comment statute and what it means. We were informed today that, and you can look it up if you'd like, make notes, Senate Bill 178, House Bill 22, passed both branches of government, has been sent to the governor's office Tuesday for his signature. We checked this afternoon, it still had not been signed, but that law will amend TCA 844-112, which has been discussed multiple times here at our meeting as well as other public bodies, that will now allow any matter that is germane to the jurisdiction of the local governing body, regardless of whether it's on the agenda or not, to be an open item for public comment. This, as opposed to most laws which take effect on July 1, even though it becomes law when the governor signs it, this particular law will become effective when the governor signs it. So if the governor signs it tomorrow, although I think he's going to be here in Fayette County tomorrow, so I don't know that he can sign it tomorrow. If he signs it Monday, it'll take effect on Monday. So certainly by the time we have our next public meeting here, that law will be in effect.
Excellent, excellent. After that,
But is it still gonna be a time limit on it?
Yes, so that part of the law has not changed. All governing bodies have the authority and recommendation to limit the time of these public comment discussions.
That's total time.
Total. Well, first speaker and total.
yeah, okay, excellent. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Going once. Okay. Now we're up to my favorite part of the agenda, the town manager's report.
Let me brief, because I've already spoken on the main thing I wanted to. The only other thing I wanted to mention, I received an email earlier this week from Public Entity Partners. For the ones that don't know, that's who they provide our insurance for the town. Liability, building, workman's comp. And the email stated that we would be receiving a dividend on our workman's comp premium of $43,989. So that's good news. That's it. That's all I have. Unless you have any comments or questions. Thank you.
All right, next is old business. This is an ordinance on the second and final reading. We'll need a public hearing for this. Let me find it.
Okay, 1610.
This is an ordinance amending the municipal code regarding GFCI protection requirements for certain appliances. We will have a public hearing on this. I'll declare a public hearing open. If there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of ordinance 2602, please let me know now. If there's anyone who wishes to speak against ordinance 2602, please raise your hand. Seeing no one coming forward, I'll declare the public hearing closed. And I'll entertain a motion from an alderman to hear ordinance 2602.
Make a motion to hear 2602 ordinance.
Got a motion to hear from Alderman Campbell. Is there a second? Second from Alderman Bailey. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, the vice mayor is asking that the talking in the audience not continue. Mr. Ellis, do you want to refer 2602 GFCI protection? You want Joe to come speak on this?
If it's necessary, yeah. I think we discussed it before in the past, that,
We did.
it was part of the, electrical codes that we will soon be enforcing, and you'll see many more adaptations and things that are recommended by the state or recommended by Mr. Joe to
Nothing,
protect the citizens of Oakland.
nothing changed since we had the first reading, has it?
No, sir.
Any questions or comments?
I make a motion to pass 2602.
Got a motion to pass ordinance 2602 from the vice mayor. Is there a second? Second from Alderman Campbell. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Remove that. No business. The next thing on is consideration of, we don't,
Three.
we removed ordinance 2603.
18.
The next is a consideration of new business or resolutions, resolution 2610. This is the water leak
2016.
resolution. Can I get a motion to hear?
Motion here.
Motion to hear from Alderman LaBuddy. Mr. Ellis, I know some people are here. Would you like me to call them forward now?
We do have some representatives here. If I could, while they come up, I'll go ahead and give the figures that were left out of the resolution. We're talking, and again, this is Ben and Ashley. Welcome, guys, and correct me if I misstate. So we're looking at a $2,000 maximum insurance coverage for up to 2 times a calendar year.
Correct.
And for residential customers, it's $2.50 a month. For single occupancy commercial, you're looking at $3.44 per month. And multiple occupancy commercial customers is $5.35 per month.
Can they opt out of this? Do they have to take it?
The plan is to blitz the media and newspapers and everything with flyers explaining the process, so yes.
But it's not mandatory for somebody to take it.
Automatic,
Right.
everyone's enrolled, you have to opt out, which Ben and them can talk a little more
Sure.
about specifics on that.
I got one more question for
Yes,
us.
sir.
Can you pay this for the year?
No, you cannot.
We appreciate the enthusiasm.
Yeah, right. We would love to be able to do that for you, but we do work with the city. And so the city is collecting the fee and with the
Okay.
water bill. And so
Okay, I
unfortunately, you
see.
can't
Okay.
pay an annual payment to the water utility that way. But, and I am happy to address any questions about any of the things that were brought up, if you all would like to hear any more about
If
that.
you just want to make a brief statement, you
Sure.
heard some questions and
Yeah,
concerns from citizens.
and I hope I address them all, and I do agree. I think citizens being informed is a great thing. I think that's what they should be doing, is up here asking questions. Our program was born from the situation that utilities find themselves in, water utilities find themselves in, and customers find themselves in. Leaks happen, and it costs money to both parties. If you make adjustments, you're losing money. Customers have high bills that they are forced to pay if you don't make adjustments. So somebody's gonna end up losing in that equation. About 14 years ago, and I may be a little bit off on that exact year because it's been a while, the state passed a statute that allowed for third parties to do this because they didn't feel it was prudent for the utilities to do it themselves. Because of the liability of it, you're dealing with individual customers, you may do an adjustment for one customer and not the other. That's where's the fairness there? And also, it takes the administrative headache off of the town, allowing us to do the adjustments for you. We handle everything. There's minimal involvement from the town once this is implemented. You know, we would need 12-month histories from your staff, but that's a simple email, it's a simple report. And then weekly, we will send updates of folks that do opt out and folks that want back in the program. So we would send that, we would need someone to input those in the system. Very minimal on an ongoing basis. So again, the state sees it that water utilities are in the business of providing water to their customers, not these administrative services. And I'm sure Eric Harvey's been in the water industry there's a lot goes on to handling leak adjustments and the headache that comes with that. You don't want to be the bad guy. You don't want to have to keep up with those on an ongoing basis. We're happy to do it. As far as the enrollment goes, there's a lot of customers that wouldn't enroll simply because they're not going to pick up the phone and ask for a service, and then you continue to be in the leak adjustment business whether you want to or not. This is the only way to take it completely out of the town's hands, place it into a third party's hands, and alleviate the headache and administrative oversight. So the state allowed that because they don't want utilities doing it going forward. But again, we're happy to answer any other questions you have about it. I'm sorry, did I answer? I was wanting to make sure I answered all your questions. Was there anything else I missed?
I got
This
another.
statement was something from my husband,
Sure.
not me. He was just, his main concern is everybody being opted in.
Sure.
And, I mean, everybody says how they aren't informed, so then they're paying for something that they don't
Right.
want necessarily.
Sure.
And, I mean, consumer rights are that you aren't opted into programs.
The water utility, because of the headache that it caused for the water utilities, the state did allow for this to be an auto enrollment program, but they wanted the customers to have the ability to opt out. Now, one of the things that does is, customers not having to call and opt in, it takes away a lot of the headache on the town. But to be more specific about it, water utility rates get increased due to losses all the time. That is 100% mandatory, and no one can opt out of a rate increase. Our program will save the town money and hopefully prevent water rate increases. Our program is optional, a water rate increase is not. So we are trying to help bridge that gap. Yes, sir.
I just want to know, is it mandatory for people to do this, or is it volunteer?
It is 100% voluntary.
Because I don't want anybody saying that we forced $2.50 on their water bill.
No, sir.
It'll be strictly
Can I
volunteer.
tell you about the process, how simple it is? They would call our 800 number, and we would read them a very brief paragraph stating that you understand by opting out, we would not be making adjustments in the future, and the city would no longer make that adjustment as well.
Okay.
If they say they understand that, we record it, we keep those things forever and ever, so that if anyone does dispute it down the line and say, well, I never meant to opt out, I want my leak adjusted, we can go back on our records and show that they did call us and opt out.
I'm interested in it, I just don't want nobody forced on it.
We don't force anybody to participate, no, sir.
Anytime.
Not like health insurance.
Right, no, there's any day.
Any day.
And so to also make it easy, this will happen. You will have a customer that'll say, well, I wasn't aware. There's gonna be somebody say that. If they called me 2 years from now and said, I never wanted that on my bill, I will send them a check for their premium that they had been paying, refund, no questions asked. Because it is a voluntary program. So I'm not going to hold your customers hostage.
No, let me just add too, because I know from conversations I've had with you guys that, if you call it an opt-out, there's not somebody there trying to convince you to
No.
stay in.
We will
You say, I
never,
want to opt out, they
we
take
will
you
not
out.
badger your customers,
No.
and we will not cross-sell anything to them. If they call us and opt out, we read the statement, and it's done.
I would like to add, I work with our customer service girls every single day, and whenever someone calls to opt out, it's less than a minute phone call. We're not mad, we're not sad, we're not saying, are you sure? We completely say, what's your name and address? Reread them the opt-out statement. Again, it's less than a minute phone call. We get them opted out. And I would also like to add, when you all would pick a start date, when the program, when the customers would see that first premium charge on their bill, we would notify the customers, you have the option to notify them 30, 60 days, 90 days in advance. So you could pick a July 1st start date. That way customers have ample time. We send out flyers, you can post them in the office on social media. They would have ample opportunity to call and opt out before they ever see that first charge on their bill. And like Ben said, if someone worked, 2 months down the line, they say, what is this $2.50 charge? I want my $5 back and I want to opt out. We will send you a check for $5. We will get you opted out. We don't badger people. It's very simple.
Yep. And
Thank y'all.
last point, we do have a 97% participation rate. So, there's been a few utilities we have signed up that maybe in the first six months or so, it drops to 95%, but it always seems to rise back to that 97% because someone that has opted out has had a relative, a neighbor, a friend say, I had a huge leak and they paid it.
I just,
Go ahead.
I like both of you guys. You have great company. I just want to say our water bills recently have gone up quite a bit. I've offered in the past. I usually do not win a lot of these arguments. This is something that our town can offer at no charge to our customers. And we could have a once or a twice a year, just like they offer, but we can do it. It would put more cost on our town and it would put more administrative things there. But it's something that we can offer at no cost to our customers, but they do have a good company.
Could you take 1 minute, Ben, and just, assuming this goes through, how would it work if I'm a customer and I have a leak? Okay, I call your
I'll
number.
let you address that.
So let's say, and I want to add that we cover from the meter on the customer side, anything that happens accidental in nature, so inside the house, the main line. So for examples, a leaky flapper toilet, your pipe busted under your sink, things like that. Customer, realizes they have a leak. They give our customer service team a call. They say they want to file a claim. We reach out to the utility. We ask for the 12-month billing history so we can calculate their 12-month billing average. Once, if it's a qualifying claim, the customer pays their 12-month billing average. So let's say they pay, let's say a customer gets a $1,000 bill. The customer would pay their 12-month average bill, which is $50, and then we would pay the high leak portion to you all, the $950. So again, customer just calls in, gives us a little bit of information about the leak that they had. We reach out to you all just simply for the billing history, and then the claim gets approved or denied, and then, we send that directly to you all.
That whole process typically takes 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
And all that information's gonna be
Yes.
relayed and
Yes.
Sir.
Any denials or,
nobody's
yes,
forced into this, so if they
Right.
don't do it, don't do it.
yes,
But, I mean,
correct.
When will they have time, say we pass this thing tonight? This young lady over here says, I don't want in.
Sure.
How is she gonna get a hold of you if she don't have that 1-800 number?
So we will try to, every way possible, make that number available, whether it's social media, we mail a flyer, we'll post it in your office, we'll get it out there. If someone doesn't see it and they came by and just asked to be removed, we can give an opt-out form that they can sign when they're in the office. If that's not sufficient, a phone call, the staff from the utility can say, water leak relief, this customer wants out, and we will get them removed. But we'll want that on our record, so if they ever call trying to file a claim, it is on record.
They should get the number from the city if they have to get it from somewhere.
And we send out flyers in advance, so, our number is readily available, and we encourage, posting it in your office. I know you all utilize social media, any way to get to your customers, so, we want them to have our number. We're not hiding from anything.
You just said you're giving her $5 back.
Right.
100%,
Makes it all good for them.
yes.
I haven't asked Harvey or Eric what's the likelihood of being able to include it with a bill. That is, every utility I work with, that is the best way to get the word to the customers. I'm not sure what billing service you all use, if it's postcard, if you do postcard, what we typically recommend is just put a blurb on the bill that just says, water leak relief will be added to your bill, and give them a website, to link to social media, whatever you all think would be the best way to notify your customer. But that way they get it on the bill, they get it on social media, they get it in the mail from us. We'll put it out everywhere.
If a customer calls you to opt out, how long does it take you guys to notify the town so it's not put on their next bill?
So we do it once a week, but one thing we do offer is if the week falls, so on Monday, when we normally send those emails out, but your billing date falls on Friday before that, and that customer called on Thursday, we can contact, well, it wouldn't be Harvey, I guess it would be Eric, someone in billing to say, here's a few customers that called in the middle of the week, and we don't want to see it hit their bill. Again, I'm sorry, we're not gonna catch 100% of those. Those few that happens to, we'll send them their money back.
Where's your home office?
I'm sorry?
Where's the home office?
Crossville,
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Where?
Crossville.
So there's like Greenville.
Mm-hmm.
God's country.
You got it.
Yeah.
We're right between Nashville and Knoxville.
It doesn't, I don't know, I mean, it's a no-brainer. We'll give you your money back, you cannot
Since we are local, whenever you call our claims team, you're calling Crossville, Tennessee. You're not calling a call center, you're not calling Florida, you're calling Crossville, Tennessee to our girls who are around this every single day.
Do y'all do this in Tennessee only or outside of the?
Only in Tennessee.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question. We're talking water.
Yes, sir.
We're talking water, but does this cover sewer also?
It does cover sewer as
Correct.
well.
Because I just wanted to get that out so everybody.
Both fees are covered under one fee
Yep.
on your bill.
Because we just keep talking water.
Yeah, we go by the entire bill.
Yeah,
Correct.
gotcha.
Anything else?
I make a motion to pass it.
I have a motion to pass Resolution 2610 from Vice Mayor Cates. Is there a second? Second from Alderman LaBuddy. All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution passes.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you all so much.
Thank
Thank you. You driving to Crossville tonight?
Tonight.
Be careful.
Be careful. Thank you guys.
All right. Okay, next is, all right. Next is Resolution 2611, the 2026 roadway improvement project contract award. Can I get a motion to hear?
2611.
Got a motion from Alderman Campbell to hear Resolution 2611. Mr. Ellis?
Board, bids were open on March the 3rd, 2026 for this upcoming paving project. Fowler Paving was the low bidder. They were actually the only ones that bid. The price came in at $534,357.88. This $534,357.88. This was well below our cost estimate. We were thinking it was gonna be closer to $600,000.
So what do we got in the budget for that this year?
I have to defer to Dennis. How much we have left, Dennis? Over 600? 7? We have about 700 in this current budget.
So we're gonna move the other two to the fall? If this is the spring, and
We can. He's asking for, in next budget, he wanted to move that up to, 1.5 million instead of $1 million with what we've been budgeting. But what I would recommend is we do change orders. There's a couple additional spots we had talked about, particularly along 64 in the areas that belong to the town. There are multiple areas that we have not maintained. So I would like to recommend do a change order for that as we get through the process, but we're not gonna do a $200,000 change order.
Okay.
So this is just to accept Fowler winning the contract?
Awarding the contract to Fowler Paving for the upcoming paving 2026 roadway improvement project.
How many bids did we get last year?
3?
Do we know why they're the only one who put a bid in this year?
Can't tell you, same people were contacted.
Okay.
Has he got a start date on this?
Just as soon as y'all let us do it.
Do what?
Let's go.
As soon as we pass it.
Ready to get it approved.
Let me ask one more question. Where are the other two people that we requested bids from? Where are they located? Are they local? Are they?
One of them's out of town.
I don't.
I think one of them's out of
I
town.
can shoot you guys information later on, but I don't know who all we sent it to. It was more than 2 others.
Okay. Were some of the, Dennis, were some of the others we sent it to local? Are most of them local? Do we ever send, I'm sure there's a paving company in Illinois somewhere. Do we?
I thought it was one in Nashville that bid.
Hold on. Say that again?
We put it out for bids, it's in the paper, and then they bid on it.
And
And
we
put it
directly,
in the paper.
and we direct mail contact, typically Standard Paving. There's several more.
Standard, Lehman Roberts.
Lehman Roberts.
I'm only asking because sometimes you get bids from outside and your local guy always wins because it costs them a lot of money to send people down here. That's the only thing I just want to.
Most of the other companies, they wanna use RAP, and we've got it in our charter that we don't use used asphalt.
So what that means for the ones that don't know,
That's
RAP is an acronym for recycled asphalt pavement, okay? Our specifications, we only allow virgin material. We don't allow, now TDOT accepts RAP up to 30%, I believe. And so it's okay, but we want it, as long as we can use virgin material and still get good pricing, we wanna do that.
And every one of these companies can do virgin material as well, and we're not just doing it, every company can do that as well.
I understand.
Have we ever looked into putting that coating on this once we get them?
I'm looking into it right now, we're gonna talk to the board about it here within probably a month or so. To see what
I
y'all
knew
wanna
we
do.
had talked about it a few years ago, but it just seemed like it died, and to me, that was a pretty good idea. If that coat can hold up 5 to 10 years, and this other's only holding up 2.
Anywhere from 7 to 10 years, but Harvey and I, we went to Piperton the other day, and it's not real pretty. So,
Well, wait a minute, we're talking about two different, we're talking about,
No, I just asked him a question.
it's a
we're
pressure.
talking about the
thing.
pressure?
It's a coating. is
It's a
what it
coating,
is.
so,
Like seal coat?
yes,
That's a
similar,
seal coat.
similar.
It's called pressure paving.
There are different methods. So Piperton spent about $1 million doing it, last summer. We went down, actually last Friday, and looked at some of the streets. I particularly didn't care for the finished product. I think it looked a little messy and a little, not very uniform. We also are going to go to Arlington. We've reached out to them. They use a different company with a little different method. So again, to answer your question, we plan to budget 10 to 20% of our paving budget to seal existing roads to extend
Some
the
of these
life.
roads is like maybe 5 to 6 years old, it's starting to show wear, and you can go ahead and do that now and get 10, 15 more years out of it.
Thank you, Dennis. I didn't even open up a can of worms.
Oh, that's fine.
Any other questions?
I've just got, is there any way we can get a list of the streets attached to the bids when, or our resolutions?
In the future, are you?
In the future?
Yeah,
Well, did we see them this time?
yeah, we saw them when we talked about it in the work session, but Dennis has a copy of the streets with him, so we'll be glad to give that to you.
Why don't you email it to all of us?
Email it to you guys tomorrow.
Email will be fine.
One of y'all in the morning.
Just send it to us on our town email.
Thank you, Dennis.
Wait a
It's
minute, it
on
may
there.
be in the package.
Is this not the 26th roadway paving project? We've got like 7 streets here.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
7 streets for more than
Yes, it's
$500,000.
listed on the last page in your packet.
Look, it's major,
very
it's
top.
really major thoroughfares, it's the outlet street on some of these is in really bad shape.
Like if you look at the 4th one down, Cameron Drive, that's in the reserve. That street has not been touched in over 20 years.
It's terrible.
And again, guys, we
The last one
have-
we had made it worse.
We have 3 or 4 times this much, but we're limited with our budget, so.
And we have 64 miles of streets in Oakland,
And $1 million a year is
64
just,
miles.
$1 million a year is not keeping up.
Has anybody contacted TDOT about the condition of 64?
Last time I talked to them, they said that they was
Yes.
getting ready to build and overlay, but that was months ago. When I see machinery out there, that's when I believe what I heard.
Okay, because I've seen a lot of potholes coming from
I
Shelby County.
get calls about it every day, and you can call them, and they'll come and fix 2 or 3 here, skip 10, go down the street, fix another one, that's the way it works.
Dennis is in contact with TDOT on a regular basis.
Everybody.
Any other questions or comments? The Vice Mayor's in a hurry. I'll take a motion whenever you're ready.
Motion to approve resolution 2611.
Got a motion to approve from Alderman Austin. Second from Alderman Labuddy. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. On to resolution 2612, Market Vex webpage management, a 1-year contract extension. Can I get a motion to hear? Motion to hear. Mr. Ellis?
This, along with the next few resolutions, is an effort to keep current on our contracts. We have some that are expiring very soon, so that's what the next 2 or 3 resolutions are about. Market Vex Digital Marketing Agency is the firm that we pay to post things to our website, to add tabs, to post pictures, and update our town website. So this is a 24-month renewal proposed. You can see in Exhibit A, you can see the scope of work. It'll tell you everything that they do for us. I'm not gonna read it to you.
The agenda says 1-year contract extension.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1 year. Okay, I apologize.
No, but this says
It
24
says
months.
24 months in the resolution, yeah.
So the resolution is not for 1 year, it is for 2 years.
It was 24 months. Was originally 24 months, so yeah,
Okay.
it's a 12-month agreement. I apologize.
That's okay. Okay. How much is this? $189 a month.
What all do they cover?
Sir?
What all do they cover?
They do do security updates, inform optimization, technical support. We called and posted, they posted agendas. Ms. Yvonne emails them agendas, or Heather. Notices, anything that we want updated on the website, the town website, that's who we go to.
Okay,
It's separate from VC3. They have nothing to do with the town website.
okay. I was just wondering, I didn't want that to be interference with this.
No, sir.
Excuse me, Mayor, we didn't get a call to hear this.
I did. Alderman LaBuddy. Motion to hear. Sorry about that, I didn't say his name. Any other questions or discussion about this resolution? Okay, whenever you're ready. Motion to approve from Alderman LaBuddy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Austin. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 2613, Direct FX contract renewal. Can I get a motion to hear? Motion from Alderman LaBuddy. Mr. Ellis.
Direct FX is a company that we hired a year ago to print and mail our utility bills. They come out of Memphis Post Office to try to streamline the process. Hard to believe it's been almost a year. The original contract was for 1 year and it expires April the 30th of this year, with the option to renew a two-year term, 2 successive year terms, and staff is recommending we renew that agreement with Direct FX.
Make a motion to pass it.
Got a motion to approve from Vice Mayor Cates. Second from Alderman LaBuddy. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 2614, Tennessee Soccer Academy LLC to authorize the agreement. Can I get a motion to hear?
Motion here.
Motion from Alderman LaBuddy.
I think some very valid points were brought up tonight. I would ask that we table this to the next meeting in time to do some research and give some more information and transparency to the public.
I make a motion, we move it to the next meeting,
Can I? Okay,
to a workshop.
okay. We already had a workshop. I'm fine with that. I got a motion to handle this in a future workshop. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay, can I ask a question? Can I ask a couple of questions? Well, I guess we can talk about it at the workshop. Okay, I do, okay,
This is August, so I don't think it's big hurry.
right. Because I wrote down like 4 or 5 things that I wanted to talk about this contract myself.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, if you'll email them to me or tell me, I want to be sure I have your answers so we don't postpone it another month.
I'll send you one.
Being a soccer coach for years, I know a little bit about these things. So, all right, I do have a motion and a second to postpone this resolution. Is there? I got it. Yes. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Resolution 2615, authorizing participation in PEP matching grant program for the fire department. Can I get a motion to hear?
Motion here, 2615.
That's Alderman Campbell. Mr. Ellis?
This is for the fire department. This is a PEP grant. It's a matching grant, 50/50. It'd be a $2,000 expense on our end. The purpose of this grant is to reimburse the town for upgrading some turnout equipment. This equipment has actually been previously purchased, but this is something that we could get a $2,000 reimbursement and credit for that. Fire chief's here if anybody has any questions, but that's what it is.
Can I ask, does everybody have this resolution in their packet?
I do.
I got 8 copies of it stapled together. Uh-oh. If anybody wants an extra copy, I got plenty. He wants me to read it. Okay, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Ellis, what are we purchasing with this again?
It's a reimbursement for some turnout gear equipment, $2,000.
I remember. Any discussion?
Make a motion to pass it.
Got a motion to pass from Vice Mayor Cates. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Campbell. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, where are we now?
2616.
Resolution 2616, appointment of construction board members. Can I get a motion to hear?
Motion to hear.
Okay, I just want to say this is Resolution 2516. That needs to be corrected to 2616.
It does, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ellis, you wanna do this, or you wanna have Joe come up, or?
I can do it if you have any other questions, which I don't think you should. We discussed this pretty much. This is a resolution that appoints members to the Town of Oakland Construction Board of Appeals. This is something that the state is requiring, wants us to have. Those members would be Mike Trexler, John Bigham, Eric Huckabee, Tony Carter, and Mr. Walter Gill.
These have to be appointed by the mayor, and they have to be, voted on by the aldermen. I still don't like setting the precedent of putting people on boards that do not live in Oakland, but this is, who Joe wants to get his board started, so I will approve. Any questions? We've talked about this. Anybody wanna make a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 2616.
Got a motion from Alderman Austin and a second from Alderman LaBuddy. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. We took 2617 off the agenda. We added 2618. This is about copier equipment. Can I get a motion to hear?
Motion here.
Motion to hear from Alderman LaBuddy. Mr. Ellis?
Following the theme of tonight, this resolution authorizes administration to issue a request for proposal for copier equipment. The current equipment expires June of 2026, so we want to get a request for proposals. We'll bring back the contract to you guys next month.
Okay. Any question or discussion? Anybody want to make a motion? Motion to approve from Alderman LaBuddy. Can I get a second? Second from Alderman Campbell. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, other items of business established. Do we have to establish, do we need a work session for next month? Or is this something that we want to email the town manager about at a later date?
Yeah, I don't think we have to make up a work session every month if we don't need it.
I don't have anything, there's one thing that Ed requested, or to discuss some improvements on Clay Street as a capital project. Also, we're gonna have to have budget workshops very soon.
Yes.
So I don't know if we have time to have information properly prepared for a work session in a week or 2 weeks, but possibly later in the month. I think we need to go ahead and have a work session to discuss budget.
Well, I know we're gonna have several workshops on budget coming up, so I kinda agree with Alderman LaBuddy. If we can not have one, the only two things, if Ed has something, and I don't know how lengthy your presentation will be, and we just moved the soccer contract, but if we can invite the soccer guy to come, these are things we can do in an actual public meeting. We don't have to have a workshop to talk about it and then come back here to talk about it. Is what you have rather lengthy, or can it be, I'm not asking you to get into it tonight, we're trying to determine if we have to have a workshop, or can we talk about it at a meeting?
I would prefer to have it in a workshop, because in sooner than later, it's kind of time sensitive. I want to get an idea if the board is open to road widening from 64 to the Dawes intersection with anticipation of the future stoplight that we'll have with Chick-fil-A moving forward. The reason for that is we have 7 Brew that came last month, and I'm working with them on paying their fair share for this road widening. If that is not something that you want to do in the next couple of years with anticipation of the stoplight, I need to have that discussion with them. So they're kind of on a time-sensitive one, so.
Could we send them an email, Ed, with the detailed information? We have a map, just to see if they have questions, what questions they have. That way, when we do have a work session, we can be more.
Well, I think Ed is trying to.
I'm trying to get anticipation from you, yes, because
So we can tell them what we expect in the plan.
That is correct, yeah.
I think it's needed, because we had discussed it earlier this month at the design review and planning meeting.
Is this something we can talk about in the planning commission?
We could, but the board is gonna be the one allocating for the funds. So it's kind of a time-sensitive issue. I'm negotiating with them on the improvements. That is your call. And you may decide that this is something that you could delay a couple of years from now. I think it's gonna be something that we need to have in the next couple of years. Just to let you know, just that project, the estimates of moving utility lines, improving the intersection, which we all agree is bad, would be roughly about $300,000. So it'd be a CIP program.
If we decide to do this now, though, while we have a commercial business coming in, they would share some of that cost. If
That's
we
why
wait a couple
it's time
years,
sensitive.
that's all
Yes.
gonna be on us.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna have to start having a workshop in April anyway on our budget. I don't like it any better than anybody else, but it's something we're gonna have to do. It was
I
something.
think, but he
If it-
needs this, he needs this sooner rather than later. We can have a workshop, but there won't be any budget items on it. If,
Mayor, actually, I had a conversation with their engineer today, and they're gonna pursue doing the improvements themselves, but with the anticipation of maybe doing a pay in lieu, where they would pay us the money, and then we would do it all as one project in the future with a certain deadline date for that. That being said, it is time sensitive, but if we could add this to maybe a budget one, so you don't have to have 2 meetings, because I understand, that takes away from time. I think that would be fine. If I could just be added for about 15 minutes to whatever work session, I would be able to at least address the issue. I have some drawings for you, and then you could tell me if that's something that you want to entertain for the next couple of years. Is that fair enough?
We can complain about our budget being late every year. If we don't get started on it, it's gonna be late again this
we
year.
weren't late on our budget last year. We were on time.
Almost, it was close.
Well,
Well, just, yeah, I know everybody wants to go, but I've met with most departments already, first run through or proposed in Texas, so, we're already working on it.
Just started on it.
I did say earlier, just for the benefit of Hardy, but the next motion is actually my favorite of the whole meeting.
Do you have any payments?
No, there's no invoices to consider, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I need a motion. I've got a motion from Alderman Campbell. All in favor, please stand up.